right? So I went back down, and there was like 12 people. And one guy's like, well, we have to work to deploy this? I'm like, we have to work. I was like, well, yeah. He says, my teachers aren't going to use it. I'm like, what do you mean your teachers? I don't understand. And he's like, no. They won't ever do it. They're too lazy. I'm like, come on, really? Kept going back and forth like that, and ended up nothing. Oh my God.
Good evening and welcome to the school committee meeting for September 1st, 2015. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome. I need to let everyone know that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast over local access television. The first item on the agenda is the presentation of the minutes for approval from our workshop retreat, August 12th, 2015, and our regular meeting, August 18th, 2015.
Move to approve the minutes of the August 12th workshop and the August 18th school committee meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the second item is the protocols. With protocols, the school committee and superintendent operating protocols, which we've all agreed to, need to be signed. So I will sign them and pass them around the table. Okay.
Move to adopt the operating protocols for the 2015-2016 school year.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, excellent. They are approved. Okay, we're going to flip-flop the next two items. The Linfield Public School Strategy Review will go fourth, and right now we're going to have the technology update. Great, Jane.
So technology is going to be the big conversation at tonight's meeting. We have lots of updates to share with you. We have Vinny Rocco, our technology director. He's going to give us an update as to what's been happening over the summer, as well as what some of the initiatives are for the school year. We also have a new initiative this year that falls underneath security and technology. Early this fall, we're going to be implementing a CopSync 911 program. So we have a few people speaking about that this evening. But first, what I'm going to do is invite Chief Breen to the table to share with us how the collaboration is going to work for CopSync 911 between the schools and the police department.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here. I've been a member of the Linfield Police Department since June 6th of 1994. This is the first time I've been invited to the school committee. So thank you for that. I've worked with a few different superintendents, and I've had good working relationships with all of them. But Superintendent Tremblay and I thought that we could possibly improve the way we provide safety and security in the schools. And one of the things that we discussed, I attended a meeting with Chief DeMella from the Saugus Police Department about this particular program, branded CopSync. And Saugus is a member department, as are Peabody, Danvers, Topsfield, Middleton. So this particular technology that we are going to acquire, we were unable to get this before budget season, so we ran into an issue with how we were going to raise funds. And we had a discussion as to what we could do to acquire this rather than wait until next year, because we felt as though it was very important. One of the things that I was able to do to acquire a police motorcycle was to form a partnership with Kelly Nissan. I don't know if anybody has seen that, but Kelly Nissan provided us with the funds for 3 years straight to lease the police motorcycle. We still have that. So Superintendent Tremblay and I discussed how we could possibly finance this particular project. And we went to the banks that are in Linfield, and we explained what this was. We provided them with the information as to what it could do, and I know Superintendent Tremblay will speak further on this, but we were able to get a substantial grant of money from one particular bank, and we have members of that bank here today. But this allows us, in a critical incident, to share information. Typically, when you have a critical incident, you have a very chaotic scene where the phone call is made perhaps to the principal's office, the principal may or may not be there. That information takes a while to get to the police if there was an active shooter or an unwanted party in the school. This allows us to get information in real time, and it can be updated at any time. And it goes to not only police dispatch, but it goes to myself, it goes to police cruisers that are working in town. We also have opportunity to have area cars respond as well, because sometimes a Saugus cruiser might be closer than the Linfield cruiser. So we have a representative from Brandon Cops Inc. who will explain it much deeper. He'll get into it. He'll provide a very good explanation of what this has to offer. So it's been great to work with Superintendent Tremblay. She's on the same page as I am, that I think we can offer better delivery of services to protect not only the students, but the staff and visitors of the schools as well. And this is one tool that we're very pleased to endorse. So I will
Great.
turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Chief. So I would like to acknowledge Brian McCoupry and Bob DeBella from the Savings Bank. They were so generous to us in terms of getting us the funds to provide this implementation for 1 year. As Chief had said, we had this conversation far after the budget season had passed. And when we sat down with the two of them, they were very excited about this initiative, and I really applaud them for their commitment to wanting to help keep our kids and our faculty safe within our schools. So I wanted to invite them here tonight so that they could actually see the presentation, but also so the school committee could meet them and also thank them personally for their donation. So Brian and Bob, thank you so much for speaking on our behalf and providing us with the funds that will make it necessary to implement the program next year. And at this time, I would like to introduce Brandon Flanagan. And Brandon is, he works for COPSIC 911, and he is going to show you the ins and outs of the program. So Brandon, you may come to the table.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. We're very pleased as a local organization to be able to work with your community and provide this increased layer of school safety and security for the public schools here, and of course to work in conjunction with the police department. So again, thank you. I'm Brandon Flanagan. I'm the current CEO of Brandon Cops Inc. We're based in Danvers, Massachusetts, and want to take you through certainly a brief overview and take any questions as it relates to the product demonstration of Cops Inc. 911 and exactly how it would work in a live setting or a live environment. So for those of you who are left wondering what Cops Inc. 911 is at this point, it's a real-time threat alert notification system. What we want to do is to bridge the gap, which we know inherently exists between a school building under threat directly to law enforcement. Specifically, the mission of Cops Inc. 911 is to reduce law enforcement response time, because we know that by getting officers on scene much quicker than we'd be able to do otherwise today, we can mitigate those situations and neutralize them much, much quicker. So from that perspective, if I just turn your attention to the board in front of me, take you through a demonstration of precisely how this works, and certainly if there are any questions, please let me know. We're looking here at the patrol interface. So this is the software application of which we're going to deploy onto the MDTs or the in-car computers here at Linfield Police Department. So the big bulky computers that we see inside the police cruisers, this is where this software will remain. Additionally, we are going to place this inside the dispatch center as well, so that the communication specialists and dispatchers have the ability to receive these alerts internally at the PD as well. And as a third means of being able to receive the alerts, we're going to most likely take the cell phone numbers of command staff and officers, plug those into the network, which will allow them to receive an SMS text message alert in a real-time setting, regardless of duty status or where they may be, whether or not in the town or throughout the Commonwealth. It's important to know, especially for the law enforcement side and teachers alike, that this platform is what we refer to as CJIS 5 compliant. So it meets and exceeds the FBI standards of encryption rates and the safekeeping of data as it's transmitted through this, and really gives them the assurances of knowing that they're only communicating, in this case, with Linfield Police. So without spending too much time on this portion here, if I could just turn everybody's attention to the lower right-hand corner of the computer screen here, or the smart board. Hopefully you can see that miniaturized Cops Inc. 911 Shield application. That's the software app that's going to run both resident and dormant on laptop devices, computers, and other mobile devices inside a school building, which of course are only accessible by teachers, faculty, staff, and administration. It's going to run down there on purpose so that we can try to protect the integrity of it as much as we can, to keep it out of sight, out of mind, for the obvious reason that we don't want students to have access to it. In the instance that a teacher perceives there to be a threat at their location, all he or she is going to do in that type of situation is double click on the icon. So as I do that, I'm going to broadcast this alert outward, and I'm presented with 15 seconds. If I do absolutely nothing more from this point forward, this will count down automatically from 15 to 0 and send an alert to the officers in field, dispatching their cell phones. Two other options include clicking cancel at any point in time. The other is, of course, to send alert now. And by doing that, we're expediting the time it takes to count down from 15 to 0. So in this particular case, law enforcement is going to receive a window and a text message directly to their cruiser and inside dispatch. And just to show you what it looks like if we were to expedite this or show you the other options, just want to give you another overview. You have the other buttons to click send alert or cancel. So you could just go ahead and click send alert, which would expedite that entire countdown. And front and center here to this window is what law enforcement receives, and really what makes CopSync 911 so powerful, because contained in the header, it tells them, in this case, that assistance has been requested from the Danvers School District, specifically from the Fenway Middle School at the physical address of 222 Rosewood Drive in Danvers. But then more specifically, it tells us the classroom number from where the threat derived. And how we're beginning to reduce law enforcement response time thus far, there's my text message, is that we're sending this information to law enforcement officers in field in a 15-second window, compared to the 2 to 4 minute window on average nationwide that it typically takes for any one of us to pick up our cell phones, dial 911, hit the Peace app, then be routed to Linfield PD, and then have officers dispatched out. So that's how we're beginning to reduce response time here, by getting this out much, much quicker with a greater level of detail than we're typically accustomed to being able to do today. Very quickly, on the top right-hand corner, as the chief had mentioned earlier, we have the ability to really collaborate with our neighboring agencies. So we can really increase our response efforts while also decreasing response time by having more agencies or more officers from neighboring jurisdictions arrive on scene. And as an on-scene commander here from Linfield PD, we can communicate these types of messages from a command and control perspective directly through this portal. And what's pretty unique about that for law enforcement is that we can create some sense of interoperability, which is pretty important in these types of situations. We want to really prevent some of the self-dispatching that occurs in some of the other situations. Kind of moving along here, we also provide 2 blue hyperlinks up at the top. And as you can see, the first is the threat location, which is rather self-explanatory. But in the instance that you have an officer that just transferred to the police department, or someone who just graduated from the academy, may not know where one of the schools are in town, he or she could click on it and be brought directly to it on our map system here, especially see where they may be in relationship to it as well. The other hyperlink that we include is the target floor plan. So what we are going to do is take the floor plans that have been developed through the school district here and load them into our program. And what we want to do is make these floor plans readily accessible to the officers responding on scene. Not only are we helping them get on scene quicker, but we want to help them make entry as quickly, safely, and efficiently as possible as well. So the example I use is if the alert was initiated from the gymnasium, which is kind of front and center here, we recognize that this entryway here is going to get us in the building as quickly as possible, as opposed to perhaps picking this one up here, which would make our route of travel so much longer and unnecessary when it needs to be, when we know time is really of the essence here. Last thing that I like to focus on is that you have the ability to take full advantage of this, so build this out to your advantage. So we can add in multiple layers, multiple pages of the floor plans. If you have aerial photographic views, we can add those in. And of course, law enforcement actually has the ability to add in bulleted overviews of their emergency operations plan too, so that we have a coordinated effort and that everybody can see that in a real-time setting. It's pretty unique in that sense. Moving along to what happens on the school side, the teacher or administrator who first initiates the alert, in this case it's from classroom 3, is going to be presented with this window in front of him or her. And it contains similar information as you can see in the header, but what's a lot different and pretty unique about this is that they have the ability to instantaneously see the dispatchers and officers, all of whom have received that alert. And that's really important for a few reasons, but the first is peace of mind. Because we know that there's only so many phone calls that the existing 911 structure can take at any point in time. Unfortunately, it comes down to simple numbers. So There's only so many seats you can put in a chair and only so many hands to pick up a phone call. So we know inevitably and eventually the 911 systems will become completely inundated with phone calls, in which case most folks won't be able to make their calls through successfully. And in that type of situation, not being able to understand if help's coming or relay information to law enforcement is obviously an uneasy, unnerving type of scenario. So we've given them the opportunity to see that from that perspective. But even more powerful is the ability for teachers and staff to communicate from the classroom outward. Because we recognize throughout the country the biggest challenge which faces us in school safety is really the inability to effectively communicate from the classroom out for a variety of reasons. But from this platform, as a teacher, I could provide a description of perhaps the assailant or what the situation may be in real time. So for the sake of, for the example here, I could just say intruder, red shirt. And if you look back to the law enforcement interface on the left-hand side, you can see that I just received that alert from Classroom 3 with that description. Now what makes it even more powerful is under this locations tab here, this list is going to become quite lengthy because as I first initiate this alert, it's also going to be sent out silently and populate an alert to every other device inside the building. We can do that to these terminals and these machines inside the school, but also via SMS text message if we choose to do so as well. So as administration, you can be kept apprised of the situation as it's occurring. And furthermore, we're further empowering the remaining portions of the school district, school building, to add real-time information to law enforcement so we can continue to track movement, provide greater level of detail and descriptions to law enforcement, and also communicate amongst ourselves because we know that this is going to be really important so that we can follow our current safety protocols or procedures depending on what situation we're faced with. So collectively we can bring everybody together in real time and all be in the know, so to speak. Furthermore, by having the two-way chat communication, we find that this is particularly useful for situations where we have the mobile application deployed. If you have teachers that have chosen to evacuate the classroom, they can stay in constant communication with law enforcement by saying, you know, classroom 20 is evacuated, all 16 kids are accounted for. And they can continue to monitor the situation as well. And you, furthermore, can really continue to build upon not only command and control, but the ability to regain accountability of the situation. Because we know that statistically, in reviewing all these incidents throughout the country, it can take upwards of 4 hours to regain accountability of those situations. In many instances, we're still finding teachers barricaded in closets 4 hours after the fact. So we can overcome all of that by, as an on-scene commander from the PD, for instance, or as an administrator from the building, push in an alert through the system, a message rather, that says classrooms 1 through 20 check in. You know, so we can ID those who need to be that need medical aid right away. We can understand who's where and really take full accountability of everybody because we know that that's so important to do in these situations. Any questions on this so far? Okay. So I'll move along to the last portion here of COPSYNC 911, which really brings this full circle as an all hazards approach to school safety. And this is what we refer to as the reverse notification, pretty simply. In the instance that maybe Linfield Police Department gets a phone call from a concerned citizen, a concerned passerby that says, gee, I think I see somebody that's walking towards a school who doesn't belong there. From the police department, we can actually draw what we call a geofence around that particular school building their caller was referring to. And once we release the mouse pad here, we can broadcast a subject line which maybe says lockdown and a message that says threat outside. And once we click send in a few really short seconds, we're going to broadcast that alert directly into the hands of key administration. You know, for the obvious reason, we don't want this being pushed out to everybody, but we recommend as an organization that maybe you develop a group of 6 to 12 individuals, depending on your school size, that are set up to receive these alerts. So then you can take the proper precaution, depending on what that situation dictates. And of course, once received, they can join chat, click OK, and law enforcement sees that you've acknowledged that alert. Now, we've seen these types of scenarios be used much more actively because they're not limited to just the worst case type of scenarios. But even if we're chasing a bank robbery suspect through town and we want to lock down the schools to be better safe than sorry, we have the ability to do just that. Last winter, with all the snow that we had, we saw some police departments actually broadcast an alert to the schools saying, hey, Main Street's closed because we're doing snow removal, so you may need to alter your bus route at the end of the day. You know, so what we're trying to accomplish is to just get this type of information in the hands of key faculty or administration much, much quicker than we'll be able to do otherwise today. And we know how important that is in these types of situations. So, kind of buzzing through this as quickly as we can, being cognizant of time. The last piece that I would mention is the ease of use and the simplistic nature of this function. We know that for those of us who aren't trained to react or respond in very high stress situations, we typically lose all but our gross motor skills. Time slows down, seconds kind of feel like minutes, and we get a little panicky, things of that nature, which is why we want to keep this very simplistic down to the double click of an icon, and that's absolutely it. Know that in 15 seconds or less, this alert is going out and the cavalry is coming. And that's the premise of what we are working with and what we're trying to accomplish here through this platform. So happy to take any questions if there are.
So you're saying the teacher has to be in front of their computer and they click the icon?
They don't have to be in front of the computer because we do have a mobile application.
Okay.
And we can put that mobile app on smartphones, tablets, things of that nature, of course, laptops and other mobile devices that may move with them throughout the course of the day.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have multiple opportunities to send and initiate these from. Furthermore, we don't want to limit the number of folks inside the building that could send the alert because we want to rely on all of us, each other, to be able to initiate the alert and of course, communicate through it.
And just out of curiosity, I probably shouldn't say this on my phone, but the smart board projects what's on the teacher's computer. So is this icon going to be there?
It would be where you see it. We can take a further step to hide it. We can talk about that off the record.
So is it Superintendent Tremblay's recommendation that all of the personnel have this icon on their cell phone?
So that's something that we haven't worked out yet,
Okay.
but it certainly is a topic for conversation. The other thing, I'm not sure if you said it enough, Brandon, but if it's on the teachers' iPhones, and you can disable it during the summer months or when they're
Yes.
not here, which is important because, as you know, a lot of our teachers have young kids and their kids are playing on the phone and they don't want to be at the beach and have the 911 signal get sent out.
That's actually a great point because we do allow for end user admin access. Even in the case of substitute teachers, you could activate that account the day that he or she enters the building to teach and deactivate it the moment that they leave. So you have complete autonomy over the system, really depending upon how you choose to use it as well.
And with the geofencing, the messaging would only go to the people who have the app? Is that how it works?
So with the reverse notification, we can set up a user group of individuals who have the ability to receive that reverse notification. The other option, of course, is that everybody gets it. And I don't necessarily recommend that because your third grade teachers teaching on a smart board may not want their students to see that in that environment.
Right.
So you can protect it as much as you desire.
Yeah, that would be better. Okay.
This is probably not a question for Brandon, but for Chief Breen and Superintendent Tremblay. I assume that or maybe I shouldn't assume, but will the teachers be getting other safety training about?
There's a lot of training that's going to have to take place, and actually CopSync 911 will come out, and they will actually go to all the faculties and train all of the faculties.
It's not so subtle message. Just a couple of questions. First of all, this is in Danvers, correct? Are they using this in Danvers right now?
Danvers PD has this, as does the what was formerly known as Essex Aggie, Essex Technical High School.
Okay. Has there been any report on what false alarm rates are?
Yeah, so as an organization, we monitor those very closely. And certainly we follow up in the after actions with the superintendent and the police chief because it can provide some great points of training. I can tell you, though, that in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, where we have a statewide rollout of this program, the number of bad activations have been very, very limited. I can count them on one hand, fortunately. And I attribute that to our training.
That's good.
Yes.
All right, and this is more for you, Jane. Are we going to be looking at drill? I mean, is this like a fire drill type thing where we're going to be?
We can do drills with this, and the chief and I were talking about that as well. So once we get it all up and running, we will be doing drills with it.
So what is the timeline for implementation?
So we're hoping, that's something that the chief and I are talking about right now, we're hoping to get it rolled out by mid-October, and end of October at the latest. Actually, to be honest with you, on the school side, the chief actually has a whole lot of work to do because he needs to collaborate with the surrounding towns. On the school side, it's really just about training and deciding who and where the application's going to go. So that's the plan.
Brandon, how do you guys, if you have a situation, hopefully you never had to deal with it so far, but if you have multiple alerts from one building and multiple texts, how does law enforcement, how do you recommend that they sift through what's good, what's bad?
Yeah.
How, the commanding officer, where are we sending people to where and all that fun stuff?
No, great question. So to address your first question, there cannot be multiple alerts sent from the same building. And we did that on purpose because we want to keep this streamlined. Meaning that if Classroom 3 were to initiate the alert and Classroom 4 tries to do so a half a second later, they won't be able to send another alert, but would join the chat room that's already in progress. So part of the training curriculum that we provide is if you feel as though it's safe and you have the ability to do so, add pertinent real-time information to the system so that you can provide that directly to law enforcement, which in turn helps them do their jobs much better and efficient. The other piece of that too is really the opposite. It's like the old rule when I was a kid: if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. A little bit differently, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say it at all. So part of the training is, don't bog down the network with the who's, what's, where's, when's, and why's, but only relevant information to the situation. And that's something that we really work and stress with the staff.
Just one last follow-up. I don't know what the word is, but if you have a breakdown in the server,
Sure.
how does it network? So if the network goes down here at the school, do the devices then, does it compromise communication, or does it just go out
So
and search?
we're dual hosting this on the Microsoft Azure cloud, which is, top notch as much as it can be, I suppose. So we're not going to be hosting it here within your infrastructure, so we can eliminate that from the equation. Otherwise, faculty and staff have the ability to initiate these alerts from not only Ethernet, Wi-Fi, but also cellular. So they have 3 means of having the ability to push the alert outward. I hope that answers your question. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Very interesting. Okay.
Thank you. I just wanted to talk about a couple of things, expand upon what Mr. Flanagan was saying. One of the great abilities this provides us is if we have some type of threat in the front of the building at the Summer Street School, the people in the back classrooms will have the information and they'll be able to escape from the building in a preset plan. They'll go to a safe area. We'll have protocol set up to have police to protect them. And that gives them the ability, when they get out of school, Mrs. Jones, classroom 33, all 20 students safe. And typically that's what happens. It is chaotic. Nobody knows what's going on. There is no accountability. So this provides us with real-time information, which is critical. The other thing is there was an accidental activation in Saugus. And I spoke to Chief DeMella, and I guess a lot of people think, well, that's kind of unfortunate. There was an accidental activation, but actually, it's a training. It's used as a training drill because typically when something occurs in the school and a phone call goes out, it goes to dispatch. Dispatch sends the cruisers. It's a 4 to 5 minute response time, and the cruisers got there in less than 2 minutes. So it was a very good learning experience from an accidental activation where I believe the teacher put her pocketbook on.
Well,
on the
that's what
laptop.
she told us. Yeah, we'll go with it. So that's okay.
So, and then now Mr. Flanagan has just told us also that Troop A is on board too, so we will be able to include state police. Additional resources are valuable at that time, and the more, the more help we have, the more information we have, allows us to make more intelligent decisions. So we're pretty excited about this, and I know we're really looking forward to get this underway. And I agree with Superintendent Tremblay. I have a lot of work to do because I have to establish protocols with not only from within my own town, but with other chiefs. So it's going to take some sit-down time to get that accomplished. I'm looking forward to doing that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, guys, and thanks for coming and taking the time to explain it all to us. You hate to say it, but it's technology we hope we never have to use, but, you know, if we only have to use it once, Brian and Bob, we appreciate your contribution, and it will be worth every penny if you have to use it even once, so, thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda. Do
Okay,
you have
so
more you
still
want-
under technology.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
We're still underneath the umbrella of technology, and so I would like to invite Vincent Ruocco to the table, and he is going to share with you some other things that we've been working on with technology over the summer, and some of the things that we're thinking about as we enter the 2015-2016 school year.
Second to pull this up here. Do we have this?
So
As Vin is pulling this up, I'm just going to fill a little airtime here. Yeah, it's up. Okay, so one of the things that Vin has brought to us, actually within the past month, is when he's doing his presentation, you notice he's actually going to sit at the table, and when I share the strategy with you, he has gotten us a wireless connection so that we can actually work from around the table instead of having to stand up at a podium to do the presentation. So I thank him for that, and he is up and running. So it's all yours, Vin.
I am up and running. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yes, as the superintendent said, we're in the testing phase of some new technology here. This is being that this is a Google district. We're using the wireless Google Chromecast connection to the laptop here, and what that allows us to do is really not be tethered to the smart board or an LCD projector. It really gives us and staff the mobility to wander around the classroom or around the room that we're presenting in. And it really does. It opens up a lot of things. But again, we're still in the testing phase here. So we're working on it, and I think it's really going to be a good addition to the school district. I think the staff is really going to appreciate it. So, well, with that being said, I'd just like to thank the school committee and the superintendent for inviting me here this evening to make this presentation. You know, it's definitely good to get out there the first few months that you start in a position like this, and I really appreciate it. I'd also really like to appreciate publicly and thank the Superintendent Tremblay for giving me the opportunity to work here in Linfield. Since coming here, it's been unbelievable. I mean, I've met such a bunch of great group of people from the top level administrators all the way down through my staff and all the town employees. I mean, I'm really in awe of just what a great place this is to work in. I think that other than deciding to work in the technology industry, coming to Linfield, I think, was my best career decision to make. So I'd like to thank Superintendent. Thank you very much. Well, here with the presentation, the transition moving from my previous position into Linfield Public Schools and the town of Linfield was relatively seamless. I mean, I held the same exact position in Winthrop, where I worked for 13 years. And I felt that moving here, Linfield was already moving in the right direction, and it gave me, or it's going to give me, the opportunity to move forward in my career, and then also contribute all my past experience throughout working in municipality, school district, private sector, and then in the military as well, where I got my start working with technology. So the transition has been great. It's been smooth. I feel it's been smooth. I think I owe a lot to the technology staff. They really held things together for the time where there wasn't a director in position. And they're really, really dedicated and hardworking employees. So I've worked with them worked with each of them firsthand. Got to learn their specialties. Got to learn a little bit of their personality. So they've just helped the transition move along seamlessly, as well as with the superintendent and the leadership team coming on. That was one of the things that we discussed, was how important it would be for someone in my position to be part of the leadership team, where I could sit in on the meetings, look at the agenda, see what's actually going on in the buildings, what the individual principal agendas are, and the directions that they'd like to move in. So that's been great as well. And again, I already touched on the environment, that the atmosphere it's been one of positivity, enthusiasm, and professionalism. Everyone here has been excellent so far. So I'd like to just again, I touched on some of the technology staff, and I'd just give you a brief background about myself. Like I said, I worked in the town of Winthrop for 13 years. I started out in the public school district there, worked for the public school district as the technology coordinator, director of technology for 10 years. The town went through a consolidation of several departments. The IT department was one of them, so we merged the town and the school IT department together, where I was promoted up to the director of technology for the town of Winthrop, and I held that position for 3 years. So for a total, I worked in Winthrop for 13 years. Prior to that, I worked for a private company out in California, where I basically did the network and systems administration. And then prior to that, I served 4 years in the United States Marine Corps, where I actually built my foundation for technology, and was fortunate. I got in on one end of the technology spectrum, and then thanks to some donations from the Navy, they phased out my job and they moved me over into network administration. So talk about being in the right place at the right time. It worked out well. Next here is Kathleen Dario. She's the technology coordinator. So what you'll see here is you'll look at some of the titles and positions that we have. One of the main things that I wanted to do was the first several months that I was here was not only get a handle on the current technology environment, but still spend time with the staff and, as I said, learn their strengths, the aspects of technology that they enjoy, and then kind of restructure the department. So I feel with Kathleen, she's been here 14 years, I believe. She's been with the school district.
She's not in the background a long time.
A long time, right? And she really has a good handle on what happens for district-wide, from building to building. She has an excellent rapport with all of the teachers. She knows the students. She knows the students by name. The students know her by name. So she really, her and I worked together when I first came aboard, going through a lot of the information, and she's really helped me out. With part of her responsibility, she's going to work hand in hand with me to handle project management. She already has a good relationship with a lot of the vendors that we use and that we've used in the past. We have a good relationship with, so she'll be more along the lines of calling and scheduling site visits and installing for installs of new equipment. We're trying to centralize the responsibilities so we can kind of streamline the movement through the department. She'll also be in charge, or is in charge, of the ordering. So whenever we receive a quote for any technology that she's initiated, she'll go through and she'll watch the process. She'll manage the process all the way through until the invoice is submitted. She has hands-on experience with all the hardware that we use in the district, all the desktops, the laptops, the Chromebooks, the iPads. She's excellent with inventory and spreadsheet creation, so she's been key in that aspect of something else that I'll talk about in redoing the inventory, updating the inventory, as well as some of the forms that you'll see online. She's worked with the HR department in recreating some of the forms for staff. She's working with the superintendent's office now and recreating some of the forms that we literally just had hard copies of that people would come in and sign. She's editing them, converting them over to electronic format, posting them on the website, so you're able to fill them out online and kind of streamline the process of submitting information to the school district. She's also, like I said, with IT support. She handles daily tickets as well that we use to assign through our ticket tracking system. She handles all the tickets, and she's wears many hats. So she's been a huge help. Next I have there is Steve Luiso. He is the systems administrator. Steve has been here for several years as well. He's a database administrator. He handles a lot of the Active Directory, Windows Server, back-end type of work. He works a lot of hands-on with the phone systems, and he's very familiar hands-on with all of the devices that we use here in the school district. The Chromebooks, the VM machines, the Wise devices, desktops, laptops, the projectors as well. He's been the go-to man as well for a lot of the smart technology that we have here in the district. Any repairs that need to be made, or any parts that need to be ordered, or any new installs. Kathleen and Steve have worked together to put those new installs together. The next person that you'll see there is Eric Nesbitt. He's also, as well, holds the title of System Administrator. He works with the Active Directory, Google, Rediker, and a lot of the other back-end software and databases that we use. He works with MealMagic. That's where a lot of his experience is, working with type of point-of-sale services and food services, software and hardware. He's also very hands-on, and he really has a strong grasp for the virtual software that we're running, the VMware, and he's really been there he's really been the foundation for that. We're getting ready to send him to a class to get updated on some of the new features that are out there, and get him up to speed on some of the changes that we'd like to make. And then also we have Tracy Arias. She is a technology assistant. She is very organized, very concrete. So I felt what better role to put her in than was help desk management. So when the tickets come in, one of the things that we did change was when a ticket would come in, it would go to a first technology glitch here during the presentation. When a ticket would come in, it would go to, it was almost like a free-for-all, where we would be notified that a ticket was there, and then if you were in that building, or if you felt like you wanted to take care of it, you would take care of it. So in order to streamline and also better identify some of the issues that we have, I put her in charge of managing the help desk, where she takes the tickets, she assigns the tickets, she manages them from being open, from open to closing. Organization also, she is great at putting together documentation. So what what I would like her to do is create help desk instructions. She works on monthly newsletters. She's able to create guides for software and hardware for staff. So she's been working a lot hands-on a lot with that. She also handles the iPad management, the inventory for the Chromebooks. So what you'll see is we really broke down the responsibilities for the staff, and I think it's worked out well so far. I told the staff too. I said, listen, I'm not here to reinvent the wheel. I'm not here to turn everything upside down. These are some of the changes that I see that I think we should make, and nothing is set in stone. I said, we're a team. We're going to work together. Any of the changes or any of the things that we implement or that I implement and we'd like to discuss, that's what we're going to do. We'll sit down, we'll discuss it. We're going to figure out what works best for the department, for the school district and town, and then we'll move forward. One of the other things that I did was I scheduled weekly meetings with the staff, and we chose Thursdays at mid-morning, Thursdays at 11 a.m. This way, it gives us the week to actually handle all the tickets, process a lot of the information, get a lot of tickets closed and taken care of. When Thursday, it gives us the day to sit down and discuss it, and then it gives us one more day for that week to actually close anything out that we were able to, any issues that we were able to work out while working together, sitting at the table. So I think that worked out well. Two other people that I wanted to mention, they're not actually part of the technology department, but I did not want to come up here and not mention them, is Jennifer Judkins and Sarah Perkins. Sarah Perkins is a new addition to the school district, but Jen has been here, and they are both technology integration specialists. And when I heard that coming aboard, I had a smile from ear to ear, because that is key. It's key to a school district because they're the ones that work closely with the teachers. They're the ones that have the experience with a lot of curriculum that's being used in the classroom and throughout the district. Whereas we're technology specialists, yes, we have a lot of experience with that, but my background is I'm not an educator. So I couldn't imagine standing in front of a class of 20 some odd students. So I don't have the educational background from a teacher's perspective. So to have these technology integration specialists is an absolute must, and I was very, very excited to work with them. The ideas and the experience and the knowledge that Jen brings to the table is excellent. She gave a little presentation and a little how-to at the leadership meeting. And it was interesting. It was interesting to see, and it's just the information that she was able to present and the knowledge that she was able to pass on in a short time was great. And then Sarah, she was there as well. We didn't really have a lot of chance to work with one another, but this year we're really going to move forward. Where I have a feeling that we're going to be spending a lot of time together. So I definitely wanted to mention their names in this presentation. So just quickly too, I have some notes here. I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but I just wanted to give you kind of an idea and give everyone kind of an idea of what I've been doing, what the team has been doing since I started working here towards the end of May. First thing I wanted to do was analyze the software and hardware configurations. I wanted to come in, I wanted to take a look around, I wanted to see what was here, I wanted to get my hands on it, I wanted to look at the configurations, I want to make sure everything was sound and everything was secure. Usually when there's a change in position, someone new takes on the position, someone leaves, security is key. So you want to get in there, you want to make sure that the passwords are reset. Well, a lot of the passwords are reset, user accounts are disabled or moved, and so on. So that was key. While I was doing that, I was kind of tucked away in the head end room over at the town hall. I was still picking time to work with the staff and do some small evaluations. This way I could get some face time with the staff and work on the hardware and software as well. But for the first month or so, people were like, where is this guy? Who is this guy? He's hiding in the basement. So also another thing I needed to do was establish relationships with the service providers and vendors. I wanted to meet the key people that have come in here in the past, that have worked on the system, and that actually we have annual service agreements or support contracts with. I wanted to pick their brains, have them come on site, and give me a run through of the work that they did and just the current status of the equipment and the software. Another key thing, walking in the door towards the end of the school year too, it was a good time, and it was somewhat of a difficult time to take the position during the school year, because you're coming in on the tail end of a school year, of a fiscal year. You weren't there long enough to actually work through some of the budget initiatives that you wanted to set for fiscal year 16. And then also, you have to really do your homework, and you have to do an inventory on what has been spent out of the technology budget, what is still open, what needs to be what needs to be closed out. So that was one of the things that that Kathleen, Tracy, and I sat down and we really drilled down on all the expenses. We drilled down on the open invoices and so on. So we spent a lot of time going through the budget, and then closed out the 14-15 school year, really working with the team and trying to coordinate the collection of a lot of the hardware devices, making sure that outgoing staff and students, their accounts were taken care of, and so on. So there were a couple of different things that we needed to do and work together with in closing out the school year. I was fortunate enough to be able to attend an enterprise level VM class, and one of the issues that I was faced with and then also questioned about starting from the interview process was the virtual environment. So what had happened is that the environment is so efficient. I think just moving along from year to year, we just kept on adding to the system. So the system, the hardware has actually reached its max capacity. It's been here for several years, and I really needed to do some really close analysis, both hardware-wise and then also cost analysis. So by taking this VM course, it really gave me a top-down view of the changes that we needed to make and whether or not it would be cost-effective for the town and the school district. So I was fortunate enough to be able to squeeze in a week of extensive training on that. And then also, as I touched on earlier with Kathleen and Tracy, as well as Steve and Eric, was update the technology inventory. I have to find out what equipment the staff has. I know that there was a technology plan in place where every year there was a rotation, or every few years there was a rotation of technology out of specific schools. So I was really trying to lock down and get my hands on what technology is out there in the staff's hand. Who's using Chromebooks, who's using desktops, whose smart boards need to be updated, who needs a smart board, which is no one really. We have smart boards in every location, so it's great. One of the other big projects too was the central office relocation, where we had to do a lot of coordinating for the phone system transfer. We had walls being built, we had offices being shuffled around. So that was a big project. You know, that was something that we looked at from the very beginning on coming on board, and I think it went smooth. I was actually in class during that transition when the movers came in and moved, and my staff was on hand, as well as high school student, the high school help desk students. And I didn't mention them before, and I wasn't going to leave today without mentioning them as well. But they were instrumental in the work that we did over the summer vacation, and not just the grunt work where we need more hands to move this equipment here and move this there. They jumped in on a lot of machines. They did a lot of the configurating. They did a lot of the updating. They had hands-on configurations with the iPads. So it was just, and to have that in place as well, already established with the student, the high school student help desk, is great. I love the enthusiasm, and I enjoy. I'm going to enjoy working with them this year. I met one girl this morning, and we just gave her a bunch of iPads. We told her to put together a cart, and she was excited. She was putting everything together, and she came back for more iPads. She was ready to go. So it's just great to see that with the students and to work with the students and to be able to have that extra support is great. And then again, too, just getting ready, going through all the invoices, looking at the annual service agreements, preparing for the FY16 school year and budget. So that was just a couple of things that we were working on. Kathleen actually went around over the summer and took a couple of pictures. So I hope you guys could see them. We went through and we arranged for the collection of Chromebooks and iPads. So you see here 350 iPads from staff and students, and then we collected over 200 Chromebooks at the end of the school year before school let out, the last couple of days of Chromebooks from students as well. Each one of those devices had to be touched. They had to be inventoried, they had to be cleaned, they had to be inspected for damage, and then they had to be reconfigured too. So this is just part of it here, but just to see the piles and the cables and the amount of work that went into it, and here you see the help desk students. this in this picture here, you'll see these are the new Chromebooks that were purchased by the district that were going to be distributed to the freshmen and juniors, and the freshmen, juniors, and we collected the seniors last year, so they were reintroduced into the school. So each one of these machines here were inventoried, they were configured, and then on top of that, they were labeled with the student information, boxed up, prioritized by or organized by homeroom, and then they were actually delivered. A majority of them went out first thing this morning in homeroom, and we were very successful with that. So, you know, we give thanks to all the hard work to everyone on the team. This here is just more of the inventory and all of the iPads. When you really look at the amount of work and hands-on that took place in such a short period of time, it's really amazing. And the good thing is, and touching back on Jen's experience with as an integration technology specialist, I'm very thankful that this is a Google district, because working with Apple it's doable, but it's a bear. And in looking at all of this equipment, I'm very happy that we're shifting gears. But I also wanted to express the point that in looking at these 300 iPads, as we did go out and purchase Chromebooks for the high school students, we didn't just take these iPads and stuff them in the closet. This was money spent by the school district, and we didn't want to waste it. So one of the ideas that Jen came up with and worked with our department, we kind of all worked together to make this happen, and we're still ironing out some of the details right now, and we're getting ready to roll it out. But we created specific cards for different locations in the high school, all the way down to the elementary school. We even broke them down into 5 devices per pod for kindergarten, first grade, so the teachers could do small groups of work with the students in the lower grades as well. So we were really looking to utilize all of the technology that we have here. They're iPad 2s, so as Apple starts to roll out their newer operating systems, eventually they're going to be phased out, but at least we're getting our money's worth out of the equipment. We're utilizing them, we're managing them, we're still pushing the free apps and so on. There is still a demand for them, so we are utilizing them. Here you see some more of the help desk students putting together it's actually the business office there in the new central office. So they were key with that. Each year, as you know, we go through the DPW, the custodians do an excellent job preparing the school for the new school year. All the equipment is pulled out of the rooms, put in the hallway. The rooms are stripped, waxed, cleaned, and then the equipment has to be put back into the room so they can take care of the rest of the building. So as you can imagine, with 2, 3, 4 devices in each room. Some rooms are small labs, 15, 16, 20 devices. It's a lot of work that's involved. So again, working together, the IT department and the student help desk kids, it was great. We got everything accomplished. The first day with the staff return, using the ticket system, we had a lot of tickets coming in, but fortunately there were small things. My smart board's not connected, my mouse isn't working, my keyboard, all manageable type of issues. So I think we got a really good handle on it, and it was a short time for myself and the staff really to work together to get to know one another and then prepare for such a big project. So I think it went excellent. It went well. So these are just some of the vendors that we have. I don't know why the purchase order didn't show up, but these are some of the guys that Kathleen and I have been working together to build relationships and make our purchases through. A lot of these vendors are on the state contract list, so it really streamlines the purchasing. And then that was an extra hidden slide there. There you go. That was one of the purchase orders. And then really the last part of it is the department goals. I'm really in working here. I really need to look at the previous technology plan, and in being part of the leadership team, I want to work with the other administrators, my team, the teachers, and develop a 5-year technology plan. With doing that, I want this will give everyone a better idea of what technology could do for the staff and the students. So I want to start working, as I said, with the district admins and teachers, learn what's valuable to them, their ideas, the direction that they'd like to take the curriculum and the technology in. I'd like to take that information and look at it from 2 different perspectives: the must-haves and the return on investments. The must-haves are obviously all of the database applications, all of the curriculum-related software that we have, the infrastructure, the servers, the fiber optics, and so on. And then also, you look at it from the return on investment, where, to give you an example, we have four different school buildings, not including the central office, and we have 4 different phone systems actually. So, well, 3 different phone systems. So. One of the projects that I took on in my previous job was a town-wide voice over IP phone system, which was money up front, but then the return on investment was monthly savings off of our phone bill. So I want to look at larger projects like that where we can really make a big improvement on the way that people communicate, the way that people work together, but then also get a return on investment. And then one of the other things that I'd like to do is I'd really like to start to look into creating a technology committee. I'd like to have some administrators, some teachers, local Linfield residents all come together during our technology committee meetings, and then really get a good sense of what the overall feeling is for technology, and also the ideas and the directions that they would like to head in. So that was that's really one of the things that I'd like to set in place, and would like to be able to present the superintendent with the draft 5-year plan within the next couple of months. So that's one of my top goals. The next goal really is to increase communication between the IT department and the school staff. We really want to be able to create the documentation, make it easier for them to learn about the technology that we're rolling out, and kind of just be there whenever they have questions. I don't want to be just the technology department that maintains what we have. I want to be out there, and I want to be able to communicate well with the staff. And one of the things that we did was Tracy created an internal website. So I just want to open this up just real quick. And I want to just share this tab out with you, and I just want to run through just some of the things that we set up. We were able to set up an internal website. It gives people access to a lot of key information. We posted the new staff orientation handout on there. This is taking a little while to pop up here, but I'll just run through some of them. There's newsletters, the monthly newsletters that we're creating, and let's cast this tab here. Right, so this is the internal page that we have. We have some updates here. You'll see along the top. We have the new staff orientation letter here that gives them all of our contact information. We have little tips and little quizzes and stuff just to make technology a little bit more interesting. We have a link here to the classroom integration, which is Jen's page, which is unbelievable. It's just a wealth of information. It's really anyone who has a Linfield K-12 account can access this page, and you'll be able to go and take a look around. We have a little video introduction here to the staff, so they can put a name with the face. We have links to all the Google information that we have, but you can see that this is just one part of the information that we're trying to get out there. We're looking to send this information out to staff probably on on a monthly basis. You could see archived newsletters that we've had here in the past. So we're going to start this September. So increased communication with the staff was definitely was one of them, and this was one of the ways that we planned on doing that. And then I think I'm going to switch back over to the other slide, but let's see. Here's this here. The last here is professional development, and I think just professional development is key for my staff. I think we need to stay on the cutting edge. We need to be up to date on all the new releases, all the new software options, and I think that's key. So many times you see people just get comfortable with the databases, the software, and the technology that they're working on. They're not prepared to look ahead to see what's coming down the line and see if it's a worthwhile investment or a worthwhile move. Also, they say in the industry every 18 months technology doubles. So at that rate, really within 2 years of not going to any classes or not trying to keep up on your certifications, you're outdated. So that's another one of my goals that I would like to stay on top of and possibly implement would be technology, or excuse me, some professional development for the staff. And then really with that, I mean it's been a short time here in the district, a little bit over 3 months, but definitely utilizing all the resources and I'm moving full speed ahead, and anything that you need from me from a school, as a school committee or from the superintendent, I'm here to do. So as well as all the staff members here in the IT department, they've expressed that as well. So with that, again, I would just like to say thank you for the opportunity to come out here and introduce myself and my staff, give you a quick rundown of what we've been doing, and if anyone has any questions.
So everything I've heard, Vinny, has been about the energy that you brought to the position, and congratulations on that. I mean, you made a great first impression. I'm curious, you've been here about 3 months now?
Yeah, about 3 months, a little.
So,
May
having viewed it from an independent eye, where would you say Linfield is on the technology spectrum? On one hand, we have all these technology initiatives, and I think there's also the perception that we're lagging in places. I would speak to things like getting wireless in the elementary schools.
Right.
So just perception and what you've observed so far.
So from my observations, I feel, and as I said earlier, I think Linfield is on the mark. I think when I came in here, everything was in place or getting ready to be in place, or at least was already the topic of discussion in order to move forward. I mean, the one-to-one initiative for the high school students is excellent. There are a lot of school districts that are moving in that direction. There are a lot of school districts that haven't really gone and implemented that. The decision to move over from Apple to Chrome, I can't say that without laughing, because Google devices, because I think it was an excellent decision. Just from the ease of management from a back-end perspective is it's a million times better. I don't know of another way to say that. Just in working with trying to swap out some of the Apple iPads and trying to get repairs done on them, it's a lot of work. It utilizes a lot of resources. So I mean, you guys are definitely already ahead of the game using the Google Chrome, Google Gmail, Google Drive. I mean, the information is there. Everyone has access to it. Google Classroom is being used more and more. I know it's already implemented. The one-to-one initiative hasn't actually been implemented in the middle school, but it's very close. Stephen went out and he had planned for increasing the number of Chromebook carts there. So the ratio, I don't know the number or the ratio of devices to students, but it's very close to a one-to-one initiative. I mean, then on top of that, you're running a virtual environment. So once we make some of the changes that we're planning for in the next couple of weeks, we're really going to be ahead of the game in technology-wise, especially with upgrades and there's the return on investment as well. With moving a lot of the older equipment over to a virtual environment will save us on the hardware and some time on the management and configuration. So, you know, it's funny when you ask that question, when you're inside of a district or when you're inside of a school or a town and you're looking out, it's easy to see the things that you think that you're lacking, but then when you really, if anyone takes the time and you go to a different district and you look, you see, you really see how ahead of the game that you really are. And I thought the same thing in Winthrop as well. I said, we have to do this, we have to do this. There's so many different things that we have to do. And then I go to other districts and I'm like, whoa, we're ahead of the game. And then when I came here, I was like, this is excellent. I mean, there were a lot of good decisions that were already made. You know, the previous technology coordinator really put together a good plan, and I really walked into a solid environment. So to answer your question, I think that Linfield is in a really good spot. With technology, like I said, there's always room for improvement, and that's my job. That's the direction that we're heading in.
I have a question. We talk a lot about, connecting with the people in the town and the parents as well as the people who don't have students in the schools. And so, nowadays with websites and such, it's a great way to communicate with a broader audience. So my question is, do you have access, as far as the websites are concerned, to be able to see statistics on which links are clicked and when the traffic is high, or what's being used and what's not being used, so that we can kind of use work with what is working.
Right, excellent
set up for
question.
success.
That's definitely, those features are available with a lot of the website hosting companies that are used out there. To be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure. I haven't looked into the features that are available on the back end of our site, but one of the things that I was looking at from a budget perspective and then also ease of use perspective was updating the website. So I'm looking at some of the other companies that are out there that do website hosting and website management, and I was tossing around the idea of in a lot of other districts they do that, where to give the ability to a lot of the staff to develop their own web page. And nowadays web pages are as easy as creating a Word document. It's basically just a few clicks, a couple of right clicks and uploads, and just typing just to put some basic information out there. But a lot of the websites out there do offer that information, and then they do offer the reporting that you're asking about. Right now, I'm not sure. Edline is a monster of a company. They've gone out and they've purchased so many smaller companies. They're putting a lot of different companies together, a lot of different technologies together. So it's definitely something to look into. I'll find out that information, and then I can let you know if that feature is available with the current provider. I'll definitely let you know.
Okay, great, thank you. Anything else? Okay. All right, Vincent, thank you very much for
Excellent, thank you.
all the information. Gotten a lot done. Okay. Next on the agenda is the strategic review.
So that's me.
Yes.
All right, so Vincent, you stay right there.
Let me disconnect.
Do you have to disconnect before I do?
I don't think so. I think you should be able to just jump right on it and you'll take over. But
Look at that. It's on the wrong slide though. Do I have to scroll all the way back?
yeah, you're on the slide.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Vincent. Okay, so Linfield Public Schools District Strategy. So this has been a year in the making. And so this first slide that I want to show you, I really want you just to look at the bold headlines, starting with the superintendent's entry plan. So just let's go back in time for a minute and just review where this all started. So when I first came in July, my first objective was to put together an entry plan of collecting data and finding out what it was that we, people thought we were lacking in, what we were doing well in, really putting together this comprehensive entry plan. And if you remember, I spent the better part of last year, from really July all the way until February, collecting all this data. In February, I reported out to you the findings of the data. And in those findings, I talked about some of the things that we are doing very, very well, and some of the things that people perceived as challenges. And the people I'm speaking about are school committee members, administrators, teachers, parents, townspeople, selectmen, just about anybody who wanted to have a conversation with me about education, I would have a conversation with them. So it was collecting all of that information. And now it brings us to the district strategy. And the district strategy is really, it is going to be the roadmap. It is our recipe book. It's what we're going to be looking at and what we're going to be following to move our district from where we are now to the next step. So I just wanted to review this document with you. I know that you've seen it before. The three questions that I was really asked along the way, mostly I would say from faculty and staff, is what are we doing, why are we doing it, and how are we doing it? One of the big themes that came out from the faculty and staff was that they wanted to know what the vision was. What is the vision for our district? Where are we going? So the way that you get to that is you have a strategy, you develop strategic objectives, you develop a vision, you develop strategic action plans, and then it all comes together with the implementation process. So we're at the stage right now where we're looking at rolling out this strategy and beginning to implement it. And it is very much by design that I am sharing this with you on this school committee meeting, because it's, I know we had one in August, but it's the first one of the school year. And so with some more conversation, hopefully at our next school committee meeting, you all can vote on this and we can hit the ground and start working and get this work in motion. So I just want to explain some of this language before we go any further. So what is a vision and why is it important? So having a clear vision for our work is essential to having a strong strategy for reaching our goals. When you have a strong vision, it really should inspire and empower people. And when we say inspire and empower people, we're talking about the people in the trenches, we're talking about the teachers, the faculty, the administration, the school committee, all of us to do the work together. And it really needs to reflect a shared belief of the stakeholders. I think ever since I've sat at any school committee meeting, I've always said, my theme has always been the same, which is it's so important to have that shared belief and that shared vision. People all talking the same language, so we know exactly where we're going. So that's what the vision is all about. The strategic objectives, if they are well written, they should support what the instructional core reflects. So it's the big thoughts for systematic improvement, and they should intentionally be broad in nature. So through the entry plan findings, I've developed 5 strategic objectives, and I will share those with you, and they are intentionally broad in nature so that the action items that are underneath them can be more specific. At any point during this, if anyone has any questions, just jump in. So next comes the strategic action items. So those are the specific initiatives that we will work on together, that we will undertake to bring life to that to the strategic objectives. It is imperative that the action items remain fluid throughout the implementation process. And what I mean by that is that the strategic objectives should pretty much stay the same, but the action items can change based on the work we're doing immediately. So if we start working on one of the action items and we decide we're really not going in the right direction, we need to go this way instead. We need to be able to do that if we really want to move the district forward. Those cannot be written in stone. They cannot be cemented down. The strategic objectives can be, the action items shouldn't be. And then the implementation really identifies who will be responsible for implementing it, an estimated timeline, and then the evidence to support the completion of the plan. Make sense? Okay. Okay, so then all of this adds up to the big word of strategy, the district strategy. And the district strategy is really a collection of carefully considered, well-informed, well-educated bets to focus the system's work on. And I know we've had a conversation at our workshop about the word bets. And it really is what our best guesstimates are based on all the hard work that was done last year. So given the fact, or hopefully, or presumably, that work was done well and it was done thoughtfully and it was planned out, these bets really should be on target. And they create a powerful engine for the systematic improvement that has to take place. They address, again, the instructional core, allowing many people to feel a sense of ownership. And one of the things that I have talked about in the past is this document, it's really, really important that everybody understands it and that everybody has their fingers on it. Because this is not my document that I am implementing and that I am doing all by myself. It's something that we really have to work on collectively. I will roll this out to the faculty over this next month and get their shared ownership as well. The administrative leadership team has their thoughts and their ideas all over this document. So far, I've shared it. I'm sharing it with you. I've shared it with the administrative leadership team. We've worked on it together. So we've already begun to build that sense of ownership. Well thought out strategy evolves based on progress made and results. Excuse me. So we really have to assess it along the way. Where are we? And then figure out where we need to go next. And so this slide really speaks to the fact that the entry plan findings are really in the middle of this. And from the entry plan findings, the 5 big boulders that I came out with were building leadership capacity, educated growth, curriculum instruction, assessment and accountability, and meeting the needs of all students. So when I took all of that information from the entry plan, those were the big 5 themes that stood out. And now I'll give you definitions for what each of those are. So building leadership capacity is really about cultivating an expertise and a skill set to embrace a shared vision of excellence and effective teaching practices in our classroom. Now, the last slide showed you that everything was brought back to the entry plan. There were lots of ways that this manifested itself in the entry plan, but for the purposes of keeping it brief and really just putting a few things on the slide, I shared with you just some of the findings that support this. So one of the findings was that the administrative leadership team is working toward a shared vision of excellence, and it would be advantageous if meetings are used for authentic and meaningful PD opportunities. So that goes directly to building leadership capacity. I know that you've seen the slideshow. I know that we've reviewed it. I'm not going to go over every single one of these evidence pieces, but I just want to make sure that you knew that they were directly, every one of these big items are directed to the entry plan findings. And so under educated growth, this is really about the teachers. It's about creating a professional learning community that is very rich in professional development, and it's focused on high expectations and continuous improvement for professional practice. Basically, what this is about is really helping teachers to grow to be the very best that they can be in the field that they are teaching. And so it's about working with teachers that have been here. Our brand new teachers, we always invest a ton of time on, a ton of energy and resources, getting them to know and understand what it means to be a teacher in Linfield. This really speaks to all of the professionals. If you were at the opening ceremonies yesterday, you heard me say that if you have been teaching here 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, if you've been teaching the same discipline all those years, it doesn't matter, you still have room to grow. And the expectation is that we are going to help you do that. And there's a later slide that will talk about the impact on students, but clearly, if we can get educators to continue to grow in their development and continue to get better in their practice, it will have a huge impact on the students whom they're privileged to serve. So then the next one is curriculum and instruction. So this is really about supporting continuous curriculum development and instructional excellence with, again, that phrase of shared vision for high quality outcomes and expectations. I think we've done a fairly good job with curriculum in the district. I think we have a lot of work still to do in the district. I would say that at the elementary level, K to 4, we are aligned K to 4. In the middle school, we are aligned 5 to 8. In the high school, we are aligned 9 to 12. We need to make sure that thread is going all the way from K to 12 in a very genuine, systematic way. And I'm not so sure that we're there yet. And in terms of the instructional excellence, that's really about the practices that we're using every day in our classrooms. How are we sharing those the instructional practices that are really making a difference? How are we offering teachers the opportunity to talk about that and to share that? And if you think about it, this goes back to educated growth, which also goes back to capacity of leadership. Because when we speak about capacity of leadership, building the capacity of leadership, it's not just about the administrative team. It's about building leadership from every teacher all the way up. Again, my opening comments to the teachers yesterday, they were really, was that yesterday? It was yesterday, right?
Yeah.
I was really speaking about them as leaders and the leadership roles that all teachers have. So building those leaders as we go. And then the next one is assessment accountability. Analyze district and state data to support continuous student achievement. This is an absolute positive necessity. Again, I think we do a nice job at analyzing the state data, and I think we have pockets of doing a really good job of analyzing the district data. Again, there's always room to grow in that. There's always room for reflection, always room to say, how have we done it this year? How can we do it better next year? And then the last one, which really came out loud and clear from the survey, from just about every group of people that I sat down and had a conversation with. And it's really about meeting the needs of all students. You have heard me speak, you have heard people sit at the table over the past year and really speak about this in a very caring way, in making sure that we're allocating necessary resources, including hiring and retaining highly qualified professionals to really support not just the academic growth of our students, but also that social emotional growth and programming for all students. So the resources that we currently have, are we using them to the best ability? Do we need to combine resources? Do we need to take away resources? When we're hiring professionals to work in this district, are all the administrators giving the same messages to the professionals that are coming in? Are we all using the same hiring protocols? Are we all speaking the same language when we're talking about putting people in place to work with our students in Linfield? So those are what the 5 big boulders are, and that's an explanation of what each one of them means. And so in the entry plan, I showed you a slide that looked very similar to this, but after doing some of the work, I've changed it up a little bit. And so just to make sense about how this all works and how it all makes sense to us as educators, to you as a school committee, and to parents when they do get to see this, the district strategy is really at the top. So everything that we do is coming back to that district strategy. So the goals that I sit down and I create, they link directly back to the district strategy. The principals' goals that they are working on link directly back to the district strategy. I know that you're going to be working on your goals as a collective group, and they will link right back to the district strategies, as will our school improvement plans. One of the things that you'll see differently next week when the principals share with you at the school, 2 weeks at the school committee meeting, their school improvement plans, they actually put right in the document, this is what it leads back to in the district strategy. And then the teachers' goals also will support the district strategy. And then you could actually put budget at the bottom of the top, however way your brain works, but everything really depends. Everything that we do around the budgetary season, when we start talking about budget, really has to be in support of the district strategy. So at the beginning of the conversation, I said, this is the roadmap. this is what we're doing, this is what we're focusing on. And so hopefully what this is going to do is stop all the noise on the sidelines and just say, this is what we're focusing on and this is what we're doing. From a teacher standpoint, from an administrative standpoint, from a school committee standpoint, and from a budgetary standpoint. Does all of that make sense to you? Okay. So the next series of slides were a little bit more difficult to put together because I felt like they could have been pages and pages and pages long. So again, I really just tried to tease out what some of the impact would be on our students, on our teachers, and on our district. So I'm just going to kind of summarize what we have here. So for when we build intentionally leadership capacity in our administrators and in our teachers, it really gives the students the opportunity to have experts standing in front of them every day. So when we are asking teachers to take leadership roles and then sharing those leadership roles under educated growth, it will have an impact on our students that I think actually will be immeasurable. And it will also ensure that the students are really in the forefront of all of our decision making. So what areas are we becoming experts in depends on what our students need. And in terms of the teachers, this is where the teachers' buy-in, the teachers' understanding of it, the teachers being able to talk about it is so important. Because I really believe, and I say this from being a teacher, is that when you empower teachers to share their ideas and become experts and become leaders, it motivates them and it engages them in a way that is again, going back to students, makes the students' experience in the classroom that much better. And I will tell you that the impact on the district is I mean, all of this is really just strengthening the center core of what Lynnfield Public Schools are really all about. So as we go on to educated growth, so again, when we're asking teachers to be the best that they can possibly be in the classroom, when we're asking them to speak the same language around instructional practices, when we're asking them to all have the same high, consistent expectations for students, the results are consistency in the classroom. So I know that when I was the elementary school principal, we talked a lot about it shouldn't matter what second grade teacher you have, the expectations should be the same. And my feeling is it shouldn't matter where you are in the district, the expectations should be the same. And the high quality of teaching and the high quality of instructional practices that are happening in the classrooms should be at that same high quality. And again, going back to what this does for teachers, I really feel that this whole strategy, I feel that everything on this strategy is really going to empower the teachers to really advocate for their profession and to have a voice and to be able to work on the things that they know are important for their discipline in their classroom. And then, again, the power to be able to share that across disciplines, I think, is again, will just benefit our students greatly. And again, the impact on the district, it just really strengthens our foundation, it strengthens our core. Curriculum instruction, so when I talk about this, it's really about, for the students, it's about the results in the classroom will be consistent with the experiences. We want all of the students' experiences in the classroom. Again, no matter who they have for a teacher, no matter what it is that they're being taught, that those experiences are going to be high-quality experiences, and it's going to be consistent. And consistent is the word that I keep using, but I think that if we set the bar high and we expect that our curriculum is going to be fully aligned and we're going to be using strong instructional practices that we know have made a difference for our students, and we expect that from K to 12. I don't know how we won't move the district forward with having those expectations. And assessment and accountability, this really allows us to differentiate at all different levels for students. When we're really looking at that assessment data that's coming out of specifically the classroom, not necessarily the state data, but the district data that we're seeing coming out of the math classrooms at the middle school, the ELA classrooms at the middle school, the teachers really sharing about those instructional practices that are making a difference every day in classrooms. So again, the impact on students is that it really elevates their experiences in the classroom. And for the teachers, it really, when we start talking about the assessment accountability, it really allows the teachers to work collaboratively as a team when we allow them to have those conversations to ensure the success of not only the students who are sitting in front of them, but also the students who are in their whole grade level when they're sharing their experiences. Whoops. Is this the one? Okay. Did I skip over meeting needs of all students? Okay, didn't mean to do that. Okay, so meeting the needs of all students, the impact that this will have on students is that we're striving to provide, and you saw some of it tonight with the CopSync 911, a safe, comfortable environment that's conducive for all students learning. We also want to build up those relationships when we're talking about students and teachers, build the relationships so that we can have an emphasis on that social emotional piece. One of the things I talked about again yesterday was really getting to know your students and who they are, the students who are sitting in front of you. I will tell you that when we talk about meeting the needs of all students, you really can't teach a student unless you know who they are. And so I feel that that's important, and it will have an impact on the students. And I also think that when teachers take the time to build those relationships with students, and when we're really looking at the social emotional piece, it really allows the teachers to know and understand who the students are sitting in front of them, which really allows them to serve those students in a more meaningful and genuine way. And so now we're going to go to the document. And the document, I need to toggle over. Now let's hope I can do this. The document, I know that you have seen this, and I know that we have reviewed it. It is very lengthy, and we could be here for 3 hours if we went through every aspect of this, so I'm really going to try to streamline this for you. So at the top of the document is our mission. And so our mission for the Lynnfield Public Schools is to support and challenge all students to meet their full potential as individuals and citizens in this global community. And underneath that is our vision. And our vision is, what is it that we want for students? And so the Lynnfield Public Schools fosters a culture of excellence in teaching and learning to create intellectually curious learners, broaden individual skills and talents, and maximize each student's potential. And then underneath that are the 5 strategic objectives that I shared with you. I'm not going to read through them again. And then underneath that are the action items. So if you look under each one of these categories, build leadership capacity, educator growth, curriculum instruction, assessment accountability, meeting the needs of all students, this is what we're going to do this year. This is year 1. So I'm actually going to scroll down to the end of this document where it is actually the implementation, because I think this is an easier document to look at when we're looking at what the action item is, who the stakeholder is that is responsible, the estimated timeline to achieve this, and the evidence that will be reported to you to make sure that we were successful in this journey. So the action items, so I have a graph just like this for each one of the strategic objectives. And I don't know if you want, I certainly don't want to have to go through each one of these action items. I think that by sharing with you what the ideal was for each of the strategic objectives, you will be able to ask some thoughtful questions at the end of this. So I'm going to continue to scroll down to show you the graph for educator growth. It is set up the exact same way as is curriculum instruction, assessment and accountability, and meeting the needs of all students. And so the action items that are on each of these grids, we will work on at the administrative level. The building principals will work on at their levels, and also the teachers will work on in their classrooms. Trying not to overwhelm you, underneath that is year 2. And the year 2 and year 3 is really that's out for a lot of discussion. That's open for a lot of discussion, because all of that is based on what it is that we actually accomplish and get through this year. So, Susie, I'm not sure where you want to start the conversation in terms of questions or thoughts.
We could either go item by item, or people may have broad questions, generalized questions. Does anyone have item by item, like a objective by objective questions, or are they more broad? More broad?
Okay.
Dorothy?
Well, I guess I have one that is
Oh, microphone.
objective by objective. And, understanding the vast amount of work that went into this.
Now we're just,
You too many.
Oh.
Darn. Yeah, thank you, Jamie. So, I know a vast amount of work went into this, and I know we had a great discussion on it, and I just feel so much that this will move the district forward, so I feel a little bit picayune with my question. But under curriculum and instruction, when you talk about establishing the core mission and vision statements at each school, the core mission and vision statements at each school that support the district strategy, should it not also support the mission and the vision of the district?
It absolutely should.
So that was my,
Look, Dorothy, again, right here. Done.
this is a little bit broad, but going back to the vision,
Yes.
I think the thing that I particularly like about the vision is instead of just saying what we want for each student, it sort of gives a preface of how we're going to get there, so there's more action orientation to it, and I think I really like that in the vision statement.
No, go ahead.
No, the rest
you
can
just
wait.
have one objective? One objective, okay. Jamie, do you have a question?
Not, okay.
Well, I think we're on to the broad questions now, so go for it. The floor is yours.
So I think the first thing I just want to point out is how hard this is and how much effort went into this, and thank you and your staff for doing this. I think I really began to get an appreciation for it as I talked to other members of other school committees and looked at some of their strategic plans. So the amount of detail in this is awesome. I think year one is aggressive. It's a lot of pages, and I think if we hit all of these things, if we hit 3/4 of these things, we're going to be in a great place. For me, what I want to, we've talked a little bit about this in terms of building out years 2 through 5, or 2, 3, 4, and 5. And not in real specific terms, but in a way that shows parents and community that we have our eye on things that we feel need to be fixed or need to be addressed. And the case in point that I would use is the middle school right now. There's an acknowledgement, and people ask us a lot about the middle school. What are we doing to fix it? The reality is we're in the middle of, 3 years into a 4-year plan of fixing the middle school. And every step along the way, we've had to adjust the plan and fix the plan year by year. But the goal is, at the end of that 4 years, we really start to see results. So when I see something like this, it is, what are the things that we're thinking about that are going to take multiple years to look at, create plans, implement plans, whether it's languages, whether it's guidance, whether it's SATs, whether it's how we address languages, if we want to bring languages into the elementary schools. These are all things that I think from a strategic a strategic plan standpoint, just showing that we have these on our radar. I think year one is awesome, and I think we have the right. I think we have the right objectives. I think we have the right mission, the right vision. All of that. It's building out a little bit more about what we're going to be thinking about over the next few years.
And so I would imagine that as we continue along the road of this year, making progress or not progress on some of these things, that will naturally help us build out the next couple of years. That's my thought on that. I don't know if anyone else had different thoughts or.
I just worry that if we do it that way, it becomes a series of one-year plans.
Well, if you look, did you look at year two and some of the things that were put down on year two, and that's based on if we accomplish everything that we accomplished in year one. And year three has a couple of tiny things on it, and year 4 and 5 don't have anything on it.
So, I'll just grab one of these. So, create an action plan and timeline with teachers and administration to align health and wellness, PE, music, art curriculum. How long do we anticipate that taking? Is that, I mean, I would see that planning is going to take a year to do that, and then implementing, and then starting to see the results. You know, that, to me, that is less of a year 2 thing and more of a year 2, 3, and 4 thing.
You're right. I see what you're saying there. You are right.
So looking at it from the what is the end objective and how long is it going to take us to get there?
Right, because each of those will be done individually. They
Right.
will not be done collectively within a year.
Right.
So because I understand what you're saying, like, there's a lot of things in this plan that look at the challenges that we have in front of us and how we're gonna get better. So, and I think what you're thinking is, well, we can get better at doing what we're doing. What's our vision for doing more? What's our vision for doing different? And to me, a lot of that, I think, will grow out of doing better at what we're doing and being able to have those conversations that may not have happened and begin to develop that what is year 4 and 5 start to look at based on all the things that we're able to do in the first years of the plan.
Yeah, and I agree. I'm less worried about years 4 and 5 as I am about. I think it is less an either or, and I think it's more of a parallel process that goes on. You know, so what are we doing year 1? You know, these are the immediate things that need to happen. I think we all agree on that. But in terms of really pushing the district forward, you know, where do these play in a broader 3 to 5 year vision for what's going to be happening?
Is that a rhetorical question there?
I know.
It can be, or
I think it is. I think it just became.
I mean, we will certainly have, obviously, more conversations about this at the administrative level. And I will certainly share with them what you just shared with us. But I also want to make sure that this stays very genuine and authentic, and I'm not throwing things on there just so we look good. I really want it to be a document that we really are sincere about.
Me too.
Okay, just checking.
Absolutely.
I guess I know exactly what Jamie's saying, but I think a lot of this is our first time with this document. You gotta test drive it.
Right.
And there are some things that you probably low, easy things to pick out and say, that's gonna take more than 1 year that you could knock on to year 2. But also, if you fail on some of these items that look like we should get done this year, they're obviously gonna roll into year 2. And as you start to explore these more and probe more, that probably will start to backfill the future, or front fill the future. So, yeah, I mean, I want to see this thing get test driven, and I want you to come back and say, then you can probably meet with the ALT even halfway through the year and say, this is what we need to do. I mean, even listening to Vin,
Right.
about doing his plan. It's this is what I'm looking to do. This is what I need to do today, but this is what I'm looking to do. And I'm sure as he goes, he's going to start finding that out as well, that some stuff you're going to pick off is going to be very easy and some stuff is going to be, knocked down the road. And it could be stuff very well in this year one plan that you think it's going to get done that's going to go into year two. And there may be something uncovered in this year one, some of these goals in year one that you can say, holy cow, I didn't even think of that. We got to throw that on year two. So it's got to be living, it's got to be authentic. But Jamie's got the right idea. Look down the road and see what's there. But I really think you got to put this in action and see where it takes you. Because I think a lot of these answers question that Jamie raised, I think a lot of the answers are probably within this document. It just needs to be fleshed out.
Right, I'm hearing that Jamie's like anxious to put the stake in the ground as to exactly what the end game is. And, I feel the same way, that a lot of that is, like Dorothy said, it's kind of naturally trickle out through year one. Things will start becoming clearer as to, what exactly will be able to be accomplished and such. So, I agree that you want to be able to say this is exactly what we're going towards, but it seems like there's a little more work to be done before you can articulate that specifically, and then get it. You don't want to articulate it now and then not be able to achieve it. You'd rather do some of the work first. I mean, that's how I see it anyway. But okay, Sal.
Just very positive comment for Jane and all the hard work. It's both very comprehensive and very detailed, and I think it's an excellent roadmap for us. So, thank you.
Any other questions? I just, along with what Sal said, I think it's a lot of information to take in, and for those people at home watching, trying to absorb it, people who are not in the world of education, it's a lot of words. It's a lot to absorb. But I think that your presentation, and especially those last slides you talked about, that break down each objective and what it means to the student, what it means to the teacher, and what it means to the district. I think those pages especially are very user-friendly. It kind of summarizes everything. So are parents going to have access to that? Is it, where would they be able to, if they wanted to delve deeper?
So I would envision that after the school committee votes on it, that we'll put it on the website. We'll put it on the website, and I'll probably attend the PTO meetings and share with parents at that time as well. So, because it is a lot to absorb.
Yes. Okay, great. Okay, anything else? Okay.
Okay.
We'll move on to the next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report. So back to you.
All right, I'm trying to get out of this. It's not going to work, so I'm just going to go to another document. Okay. So I have a few things to report on tonight. The first is, actually the first two kind of go hand in hand. The new number of students that entered our district over the summer, and also opening, which was yesterday for teachers and today for students. And so we had a total of 77 new students move into the district, and I'm reporting on that because I knew I was going to get that reaction. It's a lot. We had 14 at the high school, 20 at the middle school, 21 at Summer Street, 22 at Huckleberry Hill. That does not include the 5 educator students that we have. We have 5 students at the high school, 3 are boys, 2 are girls. They represent Italy, Germany, and Spain. 2 of those students are semester students, and 3 of those students are full year students. But that's a lot of students that we had move in. We usually will get a pocket at maybe a pocket at Huckleberry, or a pocket at Summer Street, or a pocket at the middle school, but really across the district we had a lot of students. So opening day, between yesterday and today, I have to tell you, one of the good things about having the school committee meeting tonight is that it's so very fresh in my mind. I just thought both days were absolutely positively extraordinary. The custodians and the DPW did a really nice job getting us up and running. feeling right now in the district is so positive, and it just was so rewarding to be in every single building today and see students from grade 12 all the way down to first grade. Literally just so happy to be at school. They may not feel that way this time next week, but to me, my perception was they were very, very happy to be there. And the teachers as well. The teachers are back, they're energized, they're excited about the year that lies ahead. I've heard that more today than I've ever heard before. Today was a complete day of just visiting and being present. Actually, Chief Breen and Patrick Curran, who was here tonight, I did not introduce you to him, but he's our new SRO. The three of us were all over town today, just greeting students and talking to parents and talking to faculty, and it was just a great feel-good day. Myra didn't see me all day long until tonight because we were out in the trenches. And so the buildings are ready, the students are ready, the faculty's ready, so we could not be in any better shape for the 2015-16 school year. So I'm excited about that. So the next thing is, this again is such great news for us. So Linfield has been officially approved to begin a Best Buddies chapter at Linfield High School. And so Morgan Rybicki is one of our special education teachers here at the high school, and she has really taken the lead on this initiative, and she's in the process of recruiting one more teacher advisor to help her with the program. And they will go to some official trainings on Best Buddy on October 2nd. And I really will publicize this. On September 20th, there is going to be a Linfield Friendship Walk to introduce the program to Linfield, and it's going to take place at Marketplace, and we are encouraging everybody to come out for this. So Linfield has been on the wait list for the Best Buddies chapter for quite a long time, and it's been a priority. I've heard it. I heard it when I was a building administrator, and I've also heard it as a superintendent. Many families have wanted this. The special education department has really wanted this, so they're very excited about it. The program is going to allow special education students to become more involved with their peers, in the school and just in the community in general. And it's a great opportunity for our general education kids and our special education kids. So when Kara called me and told me that we had just gotten approved for this, I think it's really good news for students, meeting the needs of all students, right? So we're meeting the needs of our general ed students, and we're meeting the needs of our special education population as well. So that was a bit of good news that I wanted to share with you tonight. So that's it.
I have a quick question
Okay.
on your report. Patrick Curran, the SRO officer, can you tell us what a schedule might be like?
Yes. So every Friday, he is going to be sharing a schedule with the administrators. So the chief and Patrick and I talked a lot about his schedule and what it would look like. And he really can't have a standing schedule because he never knows what's going to come up for him. Like, for example, tomorrow he's got to be in court for a traffic violation for somebody. But he generally knows his schedule a week out. So in his tour around with all the buildings today, he's going to be spending a lot of time at the high school, a lot of time at the middle school. He'll probably be spending the better part of a full day at each of the elementary schools on off weeks. But every Friday afternoon, the administrators will get a schedule from him on an Excel spreadsheet saying where he's going to be.
For the next coming week.
For the coming week, right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, next item on the agenda is public participation. Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to matters of action. Our first vote is to appoint the voting delegate and alternate for the MASC-MASS joint conference in November. So, you know what? You guys can't make the motion, can you?
Oh, why not? Yeah, well,
So it's Jamie's first, and Dorothy's second.
Move to appoint Jamie Hayman as the voting delegate and Dorothy Presser as the alternate delegate at the November MASC-MASS joint conference.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes, and next is the vote on the policies, the approval of the policies.
I'll take a deep
I
breath.
was going to say, who wants to take that on?
Move to approve the revised policies EEAAA, the bus ridership fee, DJE, bidding requirements, ADF, the wellness policy, JII, student complaints and grievances, JK, student conduct, previously student discipline, JIC, student discipline, previously student conduct, JH, student attendance, absences and excuses, GA, personnel policy goals, ADDA, background checks, and JICFB, the policy prohibiting bullying.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Move to adopt policy JKAA, the physical restraint of students.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. And move to remove policies JE on school attendance. The content is being moved to policy JH. And JICFB-R, the bullying prevention and intervention plan, which is now policy JICFB.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Okay. The policies are all approved.
Move to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
There we go. Dorothy's